You're always pushing towards that anxiety, but if you get into the anxiety zone with something, your ego's in the way. You need to take a step back, stop, drop, and roll back into the learning zone, if not even back into the comfort zone.
So there's the comfort zone, the learning zone, and the anxiety zone. I have been in the anxiety zone lately, but I realize that I'm stretching myself. How do you make sure each zone is either growing or shrinking properly, and you're not crippling yourself while you're doing it?
They're all interconnected, right? So you're either expanding or contracting.
Okay.
Right? And when you live out into the anxiety zone, you're going to contract everything. So to make it really simple, our goal in the comfort zone, it's unconscious competency. We don't have to think about it. Riding a bike is the easiest example.
Okay.
Right? The learning zone is where we're learning lessons. The anxiety zone is where we're putting judgments and conditions on those lessons, getting in our own way and constricting or interfering with the energy of the greatest source of energy. If we can stay in the learning zone, what happens is the size of our comfort zone now becomes what the learning zone was, and what used to make us anxious now is learning.
Right.
So we live in an expanding universe. We want to expand ourself, our understanding, awareness, and enlightenment. We do that through this process of learning. Now, my belief is you're making a mistake if you feel you're living in the anxiety zone, because what you should do, because when you're in the anxiety zone, you're constricting, right? You're going to make your learning zone the size of your comfort zone.
Right.
Pretty soon you'll be in bed, won't be able to get out, depressed. That's how people have nervous breakdowns. Highly functioning people that used to have huge learning zones.
Right.
I've now been constricted down to I can't get out of bed. I want to kill myself. Right? Why? Because they don't understand that the first step when you're always pushing towards that anxiety, but if you get into the anxiety zone with something, your ego's in the way. You need to take a step back, stop, drop, and roll back into the learning zone, if not even back into the comfort zone. Get to a higher frequency so you can continue to expand.
So when you say get back, are you saying physically or are you saying mentally?
Both.
Okay.
They're both combined, and I think too many people make that mistake.
Okay.
That they can get back mentally, but they're physically agitated still because there's been biochemical reactions, there's been physical stress, right? All of that doesn't go away, and you expect just because in your head, okay, let it go, I'm fine, whatever, but still it bugs the crap out of you physically. You're frustrated.
You mean biochemically?
Yeah. And physically, like you guys know better than me. You're the fitness boys. But honestly, I think you have to look at both and get back to center. That's why, not only is it important to get the focus and the frequency in the mind, but the body has to relax, right? You got to breathe through your nose, out through your mouth, have a vertical spine so that you can recover back to this, better balanced state of physical being where you're relaxed, right? There's so many things you guys know in athletics that you do better if you're relaxed.
Right.
Yeah.
The peak performance curve of the center is
Exactly.
the most, right? One of the things that I wanted to ask you, so I've said ever since I learned from you the comfort zone, learning zone, panic zone, I've basically said to my clients actually, when you find yourself in the panic zone, seek self-care. When you find yourself in the comfort zone, seek challenge. What do you think about that?
I think that's perfect. I call it the anxiety zone.
Oh,
Panic
okay.
is so instant, it's more reactory. I think an anxiety zone shows you the continual nature of anxiety, frustration. So, but absolutely, when you're in the learning zone, seek more lessons, right? Seek to expand.
Right.
When you're in the anxiety zone, seek to go back.
Self-care.
Self-care.
Of whatever meditation or whatever does
Whatever
it for you, whatever
is,
fills your cup.
Walking the dog, swimming,
Right.
meditation, whatever it is to you to put you at a higher frequency. So for me, as you guys know, my first step every day at 4 a.m. is to reach my highest frequency. So I start my day at the highest frequency, do that through meditation for 20 minutes. Now, that's my point of reference for the day. Anything now I have one action, which is get my highest frequency. You only get one action in a day because everything else is a reaction to that reaction.
Interesting.
Right? So you only get one action, everything else is a reaction. Now, I want to make sure I'm reacting as close to my highest point of frequency or even higher if I can get there. Because some things may elevate us. Remember, not all reactions bring down the frequency. Right? There's a reaction to my positive frequency that might elevate my frequency. Now I have a new point of reference. And I'm always looking at my point of reference, which is the same way, and it integrates directly to the comfort, learning, and anxiety zone.